Cisco Fabric Services or CFS protocol. In this video, I'm going to talk about the CFS protocol and some information about or related to the CFS, for example, compatibility checks between the two Nexus switch. And also in this video, I'm going to use the previous scenario that we configured before. Here we have NXOS1 and NXOS2 in a vPC domain. This is the vPC domain. We configured this scenario before, and after that, for example, we have a switch 3, and now we have port channel. We have a VPC between NXOS3 and NXOS1 and NXOS2 as a VPC domain. Let me to show you this scenario. This is our scenario. We configured VPC domain 1 in this scenario in the previous videos. Let me to show you starting from NXOS1. This is the switch 1 with the show VPC command. As you can see here, we have a VPC. The VPC domain ID is 1, peer adjacency formed OK, and VPC keep alive status is alive. Okay, and finally we have port channel 2. This is the port channel 2. Okay, and also in the switch 2 we have another port channel 2. These two port channel are members of one VPC, VPC1. Look at here, this port channel 2 are a member of the port channel 1 VPC, for example 1. And after that, in the switch 3, show port channel summary can show us that we have PO1. This is the PO1 we configured before. Okay, the main goal of this video is, for example, Cisco Fabric Services or CFS protocol and its function and some information related to CFS. In this video, I'm not going to delve into the configuration or detail of configuration. Okay, here we have one VPC. This VPC between PO1 and also between the VPC domain 1, and this is the VPC we configured before. Okay, let me to talk about the Cisco Fabric Services or CFS protocol. Cisco Fabric Services or CFS protocol provide reliable synchronization and consistency check mechanisms between the two peer devices and runs on top of the VPC peer link. You know that here we have a port channel 1. We are using this port channel 1 as the VPC peer link. Let me to show you first this function. Here in the, for example, NXOS1, we have port channel 1. This is port channel 1. And this is the member of VPC1, and also the status is up, active VLANs is 1, and you can see that this is a peer, for example, VPC peer link. Let me to show you. For example, run interface port channel 1. Look at here. This is the VPC peer link. Okay. The CFS now is running on under this on the VPC peer link on port channel 1. This is the place that CFS now is working. Okay, over the port channel 1. Port channel 1 consists, for example, created with some physical interfaces, but CFS now is working on all of that physical interfaces because CFS is a protocol that is running on top of the VPC peer link. This is the first information that now we have. Cisco Fabric Services or CFS has this function, synchronization. Okay, let me to write here, synchronization. The first is synchronization between these two switch, and also the consistency check between two VPC peer, okay, and runs on top of the VPC peer link. The next question is that Cisco Fabric CFS protocol perform which actions, perform which function. Okay, let me to show you. Cisco Fabric Services or CFS protocol performs the following functions: configuration validation and comparison, means consistency check between two VPC peer. Synchronization of MAC address for VPC member ports. These are two VPC member ports. VPC member port status advertisement. For example, my VPC now has my VPC member has down states. And also spanning tree protocol management. And finally, synchronization of HSRP and IGMP snooping. Okay. Cisco Fabric Services is enabled by default when VPC feature is turned on. This means that you don't need to enable this protocol. When you are configuring the VPC, for example, peer link, after that Cisco Fabric Services or CFS automatically will be enabled, and after that Cisco Fabric Services should be working. There is no specific Cisco Fabric Services configuration to implement. Okay, we will talk about many of these features in the future videos, but in this video I'm going to delve into the configuration validation and comparison consistency check, and I'm going to show you which features with the CFS should be checked or can be checked. This is the, for example, one of the function of the CFS. Until now, we learned about the CFS, we learned about the functions, okay? And also we learned that CFS working over or on top of the VPC peer link, okay? Now, let me first, before talking about the configuration validation and also comparison, means consistency check between two switches, let me to show you two commands that we can use, that two commands for monitoring the CFS. Look at here, this is our scenario. We can use two commands for validating the, for example, CFS. The first is show CFS application, and then show CFS status. Let me to show you in XOS1 show CFS, okay, application. This means that CFS is working for this application. One of this application is VPC, and you can see that this CFS now is enabled. I didn't enable it. No, automatically the CFS is enabled for VPC, and a scope of this VPC on the physical Ethernet means these two, this Ethernet link, VPC peer link. Okay, this is the scope of the VPC, but CFS can work for other features. This is the first command. Show CFS applications means what is the application of the CFS, and the next command is show CFS status. Now, show CFS status. You can see that distribution of CFS packets now is enabled. Distribution over IP disabled. This is CFS is a protocol that its messages are encapsulated in a standard Ethernet frame. Okay, not distribution or not distributed over IP. It's distributed or encapsulated in a standard Ethernet frame that are delivered between peers and exclusively on the peer link. Cisco Fabric Service messages are tagged with COS4 class of service 4 for reliable communication. And also you can see some other information about the CFS. The one information is important for us. This is the distribution over Ethernet now is enabled. These two commands are the commands that we can use for the, for example, verifying first the CFS application and also the CFS status. Let me to talk about this feature, about the checking VPC configuration consistency when we enable a VPC domain with the CFS. Both switches in the VPC domain, switch 1 and also switch 2, okay, maintain distinct control planes. This means that switch 1 has its own control plane, and also switch 2 has its own control plane, okay? But CFS or Cisco Fabric Services protocol, okay, will take care of state synchronization between both peers. This means that switch 1 has its own control plane, and also switch 2 has its own control plane. CFS, okay, will take care of state synchronization between both peers. What is the state synchronization? Let me to review some of the function of the state synchronization. For example, one of them is the, for example, MAC address table. The first is MAC address table. Maybe you find another